And welcome to Sports on Tap. I'm your host, Rob Troutman. We have Sean Duffy, Ed Dick, and Josh Jeffy joining me here. And this is Sports on Tap's first preview show for the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. It's the Red Division. And coming up on today's show, very shortly, we have the Barron Cup 1 winners, the Rocky River Pirates head coach Chris Cogan, joining us here in a few minutes. We also have Avon and Olmsted Falls joining us here shortly in the show, and we'll go through the Red Division, guys. And last year was a lot of fun. It was kind of a different year with everything going on, but overall they got the Barron Cup in, and Rocky River and Mentor, they had a great matchup in Barron Cup 1. That was a fun game, and Rocky River actually went on in the Ohio High School tournament and did a nice job there. They lost to St. Ed's eventually, but we saw some pretty fun things last year.
This was Rocky River had a great run. They made it to the regional finals, which in recent years, as long as we've been covering hockey, we haven't seen too many teams out of our coverage area, out of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, make it that far. And so I'd be interested from Coach Cogan's perspective, how much the win from the Barron Cup drove their momentum. How much momentum did that give them into the state tournament, where they did very, very well.
And I think that it's important when we talk about, we're talking about the Red Division, and this is the big division in the GCHSHL, the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. This is something that, as in this league, there's a lot of fluidity year to year, a lot of movement. So before we bring on Coach Cogan, let's go ahead and set the table a little bit, guys, for what the 2021-2022 season has in store.
Wait,
for
Sean,
the Reds. There's
come
so
out,
many 20s.
But you can come out and say GC, GS, HSL, perfect.
Do you have any idea?
No problem, but you can't say 2022. Come on, man.
Do you realize how much brain power I expended trying to make sure I pronounced GCHSHL correctly? After that, we're lucky I know my own name at this point.
He practiced that all day today, didn't you?
All day. But without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at what the Red Division looks like for this season. And I'll throw this up there, and as you can see, we have, starting obviously in alphabetical order, Amherst Comets, a pretty much stalwart in the Red Division. Newcomer, Avon Eagles, we'll talk to their coach tonight as well. Benedictine Bengals are in there. Hudson Explorers, again, another team from last year that stayed in the Red Division. The runner-up in Barron Cup 1, which is the Mentor Cardinals. The champion of the Barron Cup 1, the Rocky River Pirates, and another newcomer coming up from the White Division, Olmsted Falls. They have come in. What you're not seeing here is, as we've mentioned, movement in this league and in between these divisions. Strongsville, who was in the Red Division last year, actually moved out of the Red Division, and these two teams, Olmsted Falls and Avon, did rise to the Red Division.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Avon and Olmsted Falls were in the White Division, or the Barron Cup 2 championship game. So they were right there in that championship game, and boy, what a fun championship game that was between Avon and Olmsted Falls. And those guys are rivals in every sense. In football, they're playing each other this coming up Friday, and here in hockey, it goes the same way. Every time they play, it's always a battle, and now they're going to battle in the Red Division. So, pretty cool there.
But all roads. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ed.
Both teams did very, very well. Did very well in the White North Division last year. They both finished undefeated. I think they weren't able to. From what I'm looking at in the standings, within conference play specifically, it didn't seem like they played. They didn't play each other during the course of the conference season. But that was one of the most exciting. That was one of the more exciting games. They were all exciting. All those Barron Cup, the Barron Cup finals matches were very, very exciting. That one definitely was top notch, and we all love both coaches from that game on here in a little bit. Rocky River also finished undefeated according to the website that I'm looking at in Red Division play. before they took on Menor in the championship. And and we'll get to the white division, the various white divisions and the blue divisions here in later episodes of our preview show.
Absolutely. And you're right, Ed. I mean, you called play-by-play for the Barron Cup, and a lot of it was a lot of fun. And it's always fun, I feel like, every year to see what teams move up and what teams move down. They do a great job with this. Ryan Kelber, the president of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, does a great job figuring out with the athletic directors and teams where teams are going to be most competitive, and I feel like that's what makes this league really special. But without further ado, let me get Coach Cogan. He's waiting nicely here to join us.
Patiently.
Patiently waiting. The head coach of the Rocky River Pirates. And there he is. Coach Cogan, how are you tonight? Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. How's the off season been treating you?
It was good, but I'm glad to be back at it.
Yeah, and you start here shortly. I think this weekend you have some games going on, right? Is it this weekend?
Yeah, we had 2 last weekend, and then tomorrow we're on our way to Findlay for 1, and then back home Saturday against Benedictine.
Hey, Coach.
Go ahead, Ed.
Coach, first off, congratulations on your run from last year, specifically both the Barron Cup championship and your run in the district tournaments. That was awesome for us to follow, and obviously awesome for your team there. How much momentum did your team carry from winning the Barron Cup? How much did that, if any, carry over to the state tournament?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. That's, obviously huge. It's, because it's back-to-back. So you leave the Barron Cup and then you roll right into state. So there's not much time off. So, I mean, that was great for the guys, to have something to ride with and just keep the momentum going.
Now, talk a little bit about, some of the important players you had last year that graduated. I know you had some really key players, and you had just an outstanding team last year. Talk about the players that you lost that might have had an impact, last year for you that were key contributors.
Do I have to?
They'd probably love to hear it. They're like,
yeah. So I did. We graduated 11 guys last year, and they were all big parts of the team, if not for multiple years. With that being said, so. I would say I probably lost 95% of my scoring from last year. So the guys on the team this year, they got lots of proof here. They know what's going on, but they need to start putting the puck in the net themselves. So like Reese Rochester, Danny Asmar, Hayden Weaver, those were my go-to forwards. Yeah, if we needed something to go, like those were the guys that we needed to get the puck on their stick, and we'd hope that they put the puck in the back of the net. So those 3 for sure. And then we lost some defensemen that were key, Ian Updike, and just all of them. Like I said, there's 11, and then Christopher in goal. He had never in a million years would I expect him to have the season that he did, but he came through big for us. So just all those guys top to bottom. We had Kevin Beer, who was probably a 3-year player, Dylan Bandai, who was another, solid guy up on forward for us. So like I said, just all those guys, but, with Reese, Danny, and Hayden, those were like our big go-to scorers. And we're going to miss them.
Yeah, no doubt. And you had such a fast team last year. I remember up and down the ice. They were quick, they were crisp with their passes. Obviously, in goaltender, your son did a great job. He was making all the stops, and now you have those guys gone. Who can we look to this year in this season to step up and really, obviously, nobody can replace those other guys, but who's going to step up and fill that scoring void, and also between the goalposts there?
I wish I could tell you who's going to fill that scoring void, but we're still working on that part. But I've got a handful of returning guys that had real minutes the last few years, and Alex Parnell, Jack Davis, Grayson Hess. And then like on defense, Parker McLean, Ben Greenfield, Owen Toole, like those guys have had real minutes over the years. So, and sophomore Luke Updike. So I've got a good core of my guys coming back from last year. But they're going to be in different roles, and we're just trying to put all the pieces together right now.
Coach,
as you were, Sean.
I was just going to say, Coach, thank you again for coming on the show. And we were talking just before you came on about, the changes in the division itself this year. There's a couple new teams in there. There's a team that moved out. Can you talk a little bit about what it takes to kind of maintain that intensity in the red division on your perspective? You guys are the defending, Barron Cup 1 champions, and there comes with that a lot of pressure. Do you see, some competition from the other coaches or from the other teams that, there's kind of, there's a team out there that, on paper has a lot of good, experience that you're kind of, circling on the calendar? We got to, be ready for that, or is it more just kind of take them as they come?
No, we just basically, we just say that they all want us. It doesn't matter who they are. They all want to come after us. It's hard. You got to hold your own, and again, I've probably turned over 40 in the last 40 seniors in the last 4 years. So that's a huge number for me. But we just got to. We fortunately have a good pipeline in our youth program, and we've been retaining kids, so we still have numbers. Not nearly as many as we had in the years past, but we just got to keep working with kids and get them to buy into our system and buy into what we believe in and what we need to do. And they've done a great job of listening and trying to, take that on. So no, I don't look at one team and say we really need to focus on these guys. We just go out and play our game every night, because we know that it doesn't matter who it is that's going to play against us. They want to take it to us.
Chris, we talked to you last year. We talked about the challenges you guys were going through, just day in and day out, dealing with COVID and whether or not you were going to play, practice, so on and so forth. Has your offseason this year, are you kind of back to normal? Or are you still having some dealings with COVID protocols you guys have to deal with? How is that going for you and your team this year?
So knock on wood, nothing so far. We've had a couple guys out just with, some minor stuff, but nothing crazy. And we're hoping not to have any of those setbacks like we had last year and just have a regular season.
Are you guys back to pretty much normal with how you guys were doing things before pre-pandemic and having normal practices, normal ice time, getting together and all that good stuff?
Correct. Yep.
That's good
Everybody's
to hear.
back in the locker room, and we're doing meetings and whatever you have it like we had 2 years ago. So yeah, we're all back to normal as of right now. We hope that'll stay that way.
Coach, with the now that we are back to a more normal than we were last year, are there any things that you guys were forced into doing from COVID that maybe something that you've at the end of it, you're like, maybe that wasn't a bad idea to do it this way because you were forced into it, that you maybe continuing on to do now? Or is everything just kind of back to what it was, call it in 2019?
No, I think it's just kind of back to normal. I mean, the unfortunate thing last year is we were just kind of rushed with everything we did. We had to get in and get out, and there wasn't really a lot of discussions after, games and stuff. We're just trying to get people in and out and, away from each other. So, like I said, it's just kind of back to normal from 2 years ago. And, we want to keep it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good thing. Hey, Coach, you had a very experienced roster last year, and from what it sounds like, it's going to be a little bit less experienced than in years past. Does that change the way you coach a little bit, or just like you get back to more basics because you don't have maybe as much experience?
I mean, it slows it down a little bit here for the first couple of weeks until some of these younger guys, kind of get in the rhythm and get in the groove. And unfortunately, with last year, the way it was, my JV team was limited to probably like 5 or 6 games. So they really had, not really even a season, which doesn't help me this year, because then we were just focused on the varsity and, it was just too hard to find games for those guys. So yeah, I mean, right now it slows it down a little bit. There's a lot more X's and O's on the board going on, and trying to get these guys to run the systems and what we want them to do. But that's why we have these couple weeks here to kind of get in line and get everything in place.
And you said you had already a tournament last week. How did that tournament go for you to start the season?
Well, we just had 2 preseason games last weekend.
Okay.
But I think Friday night we came out and we played pretty well. And Sunday I think we took the foot off the gas a little bit, and it showed. And but again, these are all learning curves for a lot of these guys. So nothing to be upset about or worried about, just things that need to be tweaked.
Coach, I wanted to ask because, when we talk to every coach in the high school level, we talk about, players that play multiple sports. Are there any players that you don't have that are not available because they may still be in tournament time, whether with football or with soccer or anything like that, that you're, maybe you're not at full strength because they're still with their commitments to other teams? And how does that kind of play into your preparation? Is it just, they're not here, we got to kind of move on without them?
Yeah, I mean, so yes, I'm missing 3 guys right now due to football. So, I'm glad they're still playing. They're still playing football, and they're still, making that push in the playoffs. But, it is what it is. And when they come back, we'll work them back into the lineup and get them back into practice and, just catch them up to where we're at and, as far as where we're at in the season. So it doesn't really change too much because, again, it's just plugging somebody back in and, getting them back on the ice and plugging them back in and get them going.
Now, could any of their names be Tommy Beebe or any of the Beebes?
Or
I know
any of them Beebes.
Not gonna lie, I was gonna say the same exact thing. No joke.
No.
when he said 3, I'm like, I know they have just
There's 12 of them currently in the Rocky River Athletic Department at any one time, so there's a good chance of it.
Exactly.
No, they are not on the ice for me. Not yet. There is a little one that plays, though.
Okay.
Oh, nice. I was going to say, if you just tell them they can hit, I heard they like to be physical and really hit people. So I'm sure, they would probably like it. I think,
Heard it. We've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Looking at your team through the preseason games, what's one thing that you were excited to see in those preseason games? Was it, the offense? Was the offense looking good, or was there a few players that stuck out to you that you're like, wow, they really stepped up in preseason and they have high hopes for this season?
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I think, we had a lot of go in the first preseason scrimmage. I mean, the speed and the intensity was good. At both ends, forward and defensively. Defense was, doing their job and taking away good shooting opportunities. And then I have like a rush goalie in there, Nico Rose, and he did a great job for his first game. And because, like I said, he only played 5 games last year. So for him to step in and play the way that he did on night 1 and night 2, like, I got no complaints. And, we'll get better, and he'll get better.
Maybe early on in the preseason and your off-season program, but without giving too much away, do you see any strengths where your team look going into the season where you feel like this could be a strength of your team as you go on this season? Or is it still too early? If it's too early, just say it's too early, then move on.
Yeah, it's still early. It is. It's still early. And like I said, we have a lot of guys in new positions and trying to do new things. So, yeah, I think it's early, but I don't see any major setbacks in any position.
Very cool. Well, Coach, we any last questions before we let Coach go here?
Good luck on the season. We look forward to hopefully coming to a couple Rocky River games and seeing the progress and the competition that we always see good games when we go see Rocky River. It never fails.
Yeah,
so
thank you. Yeah,
that's
thanks.
that's the one thing.
Just one.
Hey,
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, we appreciate coming on tonight. Thanks for coming on the preview show for the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, and we'll look forward to seeing and talking with you during the season.
Great. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Good luck, Coach.
That's head coach of the Rocky River Pirates, Chris Cogan, joining us here on Sports on Tap. I want to thank him for coming on, and they just had such a great season last year. You know, losing 95% of your offense, like he said, that's pretty crazy. But, you know, I'm sure they go through that a lot during the season. And like he said, you got to have that young youth pipeline where you can develop kids. And when you go through, you know, one senior-laden team, you got to move up the kids, and hopefully they have a little bit of experience. So it'll be fun to see how the Rocky River Pirates do in the Red Division this year, especially with the changes. I think it's going to be a really competitive league. I'm excited to see, you know, the Avon and Olmsted Falls, with them moving up, how are they going to compete against the big boys of Menor and Rocky River, and also, you know, there's some other teams in there that are good. You know, Hudson and Benedictine, they're always right there as well. Amherst, Amherst with Coach Morris, he does a great job there. You know, and last year they didn't have a ton of players necessarily, but you know, they keep coming back at it and, you know, having good team after good team. So we'll have to, you know, see how they're going to compete this year.
You know, what's interesting about this time of year, and I think, you know, we're doing a preview show, right? And there's a lot of times where coaches just really don't know what we have. And that's why I asked Coach Cogan, you know, how many guys are you missing because they're playing other sports? I mean, you're talking about teams that, you know, rely on players that play multiple sports. And football and hockey tend to be kind of the crossover. Same thing with football, wrestling, football, basketball, winter and fall sports. So, you know, you can understand why Coach Cogan, at least, given the fact, like Rob mentioned and like he mentioned, he lost, you know, a ton of senior leadership on that team last year. So he's trying to figure out who he can rely on, and maybe some of those names are still wearing a football helmet and not wearing hockey pads as of yet. So maybe he, you know, it's a tougher situation. But thankfully, they have these preseason games and preseason tournaments before they get into the teeth of the, you know, the schedule and the Barron Cup season comes around. So, you know, Rocky River's an interesting team, and you're right, Rob. They given the fact of all they lost last year to graduation and had a great run of players and what they did, it's going to be interesting. They're going to be an interesting follow to see if they can continue to do what they've done for years on years. It's always been competitive in this division. I mean, Rocky River's always near the top or one of the top teams in this division for the past few years. A lot of that, I mean, like you said, he graduated 40 kids over the last, you know, couple of years. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. And the fact that he has a JV team speaks to where that program is. I mean, Rocky River hockey is big. It's big around here, and it's a sort sense of pride, especially in that community.
Yeah,
and what I found interesting was his thought about, you know, he's got to bring a lot of his players that have been in, you know, the Rocky River development program for a long time, youth program, but the guys that played JV, they could only play 5 or 6 games last year, and there wasn't a lot of time for them to get on the ice. So, you know, 5 or 6 games for a full season is not a lot. So you basically have some players that haven't played played meaningful, a lot of hockey in over a year. So you could tell, you know, he's got a lot of work ahead of him, you know, to get those players up to speed, especially after losing a lot of the key contributors he had last year. But, you know, a program like that, it's already set. The tone's already set every year, and the expectations are already set. It's just a matter of those players are going to excel at that level and get up to speed quickly and play at that level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that's a challenge for all these high school coaches. You know, last year I thought Strongsville went through some hurdles, you know, with all the COVID going on, and then with players getting hurt. You know, any one player gets hurt, you know, if you don't, depending on how your depth of your team, it could really affect you. But you know, 7 teams in the Red Division with Avon, Amherst, Benedictine, Hudson, Menor, Olmsted Falls, and Rocky River make up the Red. And I think it's going to be really competitive, especially Hudson. Hudson did a great job last year. They were, doing really well until, Rocky River and Menor really, I thought, dominated. And Hudson started off strong and then, I think kind of ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw there. But without further ado, here comes Coach Botos here. From Avon he's going to talk to us by phone. And Coach, thanks for taking time to join us here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And, it's interesting. We just got off with Rocky River and Coach Cogan, and now you're part of the red division this year. So are you excited to join? You go from the white division now to the red division. And in the white division, you had Olmsted Falls in the championship game, and both of you now are in the red division. So are you excited with your move to the red division?
Yes, it's the challenge is a big one, but yeah, we're very excited. I think the red division is where you want to be as a program, but it comes with challenges. There's Rocky River and Menor and Benedictine and Hudson are very veteran teams in that division, so it's going to be a challenge, but we're excited about the challenge.
Coach, what do you think the biggest challenge is that your team is facing moving up to the red division?
The red division, I think every night is a very competitive division. You have to be on your A game every night. Every team's not it's not a cakewalk. I'm not saying the white division was either. It's a different level. It's just, they can roll 4 lines. They got the depth to compete for 45 minutes, and it's a challenge. But I think we have the depth this year to hang with them. So, like I said, it's going to be exciting, but it comes with some ups and downs. I can say it's a new division, so it's going to be a feeling out process in the beginning.
Coach, a question that we've asked a lot of the coaches, that we ask every coach is, obviously we're coming out of what can only be described as a pretty unusual 2020-2021 season, to say the least. Are you guys back to pre-pandemic kind of workouts and things like that, or are there still some, I guess for lack of a better term, regulations or things like that? You guys are still following protocols that you're still required to follow as it pertains to practicing and things like that?
No, so we've been pretty full go this year. We started summer lifting in early July. We had summer hockey like it was normal. We've done previously before COVID hit. Right now, I would say it's pretty much back to pre-COVID, but you're still trying to keep everyone safe. We had film tonight, and you're still wearing masks indoors with all 28 players that you have. You're just trying to be precaution. You're still cautious with that indoor stuff, but everything else is pretty full go. We've been on the ice 3 times a week. We're going down to Columbus this weekend for preseason. So right now it's 35 games versus only 19 or 20 last year is a good thing to me. So it's pretty back to normal in my eyes.
Absolutely. And Coach, you had a successful season last year. Talk about some of the players this year that you think are really going to have to step it up in whether it's offense and defense and goaltending. Talk a little bit about your team this year.
Yeah, I think we're 15 seniors this year, which, we're a veteran squad. I think the move to the red division, like I said, I think it's a good one right now. But, we're kind of led by our forwards class with Mike Prusik, who is our captain. Right now he's like 25 points shy of a 100-point career, which is pretty amazing at Avon. Logan Brown, Matt Folds, Nick Kraszewski is pretty much been our workhorses on the offensive side. Defensive side, we have 3 veterans coming back, which is nice. Will Umlin, Luke Linden and Daniel Zarowski is going to be leaned a lot on in the back end for us this year. And then we have a senior goalie who has progressed really well since his freshman year, Ben Boca. So he's going to be our workhorse this year for a lot of our games, but pretty much head to toe, we're pretty solid right now with depth. It's just learning to play in the red division is going to be the beginning stages of what this looks like.
Now, is your
Coach?
Oh, go ahead, Josh.
No, go ahead, Rob. I'll get it after you. Go ahead.
Coach, I was just going to ask you. You talked about depth. Is that just from your youth program? Have you seen it continually grow over the years, or how is that? How's your youth program been for you?
So we've been averaging about 8 incoming freshmen this year, every year. I've been this senior group, we came in pretty heavy with 12 at the time, and they've played youth hockey together at North Olmsted. So they've been together for a while. We've done really great things with our youth, trying to keep the Avon community together. We do our youth camp in the summer, and then we try to bring the youth kids in throughout the year, depending on their schedules and all that. So I would say we average about 6 to 8 every year, which has been good for us.
Hey, Coach, talk about how important for you, especially coming in the red division, how important is to have that senior in goal for you that's made so much progress, and you said it's going to be your workhorse. Talk about how important it is for you as you're getting into bump it up a little bit on the competition level in the red division this year.
Yeah, I think Ben from his freshman year to now, he's matured really well in my eyes. He's a competitor. I think he likes to see more than 50 shots a night versus maybe 10 or 15 because it's just his competitive mindset, you can say. But having a veteran goalie going into the red division, you could say, it's a huge benefit. You can kind of make mistakes and know that you're going to be okay sometimes for a younger defensive core. This year we're going to have three younger defensemen playing this year. So having them make mistakes, you're not as worried versus if you had a freshman in net. But giving up shots, 30 plus shots, you know he's going to make some saves. But I think getting back to that, the depth is going to help offset that, I think, for us, which it's going to be a big thing for us. Ben's been a great asset for us, and it's going to be sad to see him leave, is what I'm going to say right now. But we should be good. We should be good in the back end of the net. So I'm happy to see how he progresses. I'm happy to see what he does after this year. So there's a lot of expectations for him from my side.
Coach, I know we're looking forward to this current season. Last season, winning Barron Cup 2, it was a very exciting game, and I'm sure it was exactly as you drew up by scoring goals within the first 30 seconds of multiple periods, including overtime. How we were there, we broadcasted it. I mean, just how is that feeling, for your team? And how can some of that carry over into this year?
Yeah. So when I first started at Avon, we made it all the way to the Barron Cup finals against Olmsted Falls, and it portrayed out exactly how it happened this year, where we scored the first goal, and then Olmsted Falls rattled off, I think, 5 goals my first year coaching. I'm like, oh, it's just what it was. It was just things happened that my first year, and then to go in last year and they scored 2 goals and make it 2-1, and after the first, I'm like, there's no way the history is going to write itself. But I think we've learned a lot through the year playing close games. If we could keep teams close and we can wear them down with I think at the time we had 3 lines at that time. We could make games hard for teams, and I think that's what we kind of did with Olmsted Falls. Is we would jump on them pretty quick, and then we'd settle down and not give up much, and then we would wait for them to kind of get tired and jump on it. We were a very focused team, and I think that led to the leadership last year with Cole Ryan and the captains always being prepared. And I'm, again, like this year, I think, again, you have a large returning class that's been through the process, which I think you're going to be a step ahead. It's just making sure you come ready to go every night, and you have to play 45 minutes every night. Every shift matters. Every person on the bench matters, and being prepared is going to be a big thing in the Red Division. Like I said, Rocky River, Mentor are very established teams that have fought for the Barron Cup 1 every year. So if you want to compete at that level, you have to figure out how to skate with them. I mean, Rocky River last year skated with pretty much the top 4 in the state. So what are they doing? What are you not doing? How can you get better every day is going to be the issue, or be the biggest thing we need to learn. And, Mentor's not a team you want to sleep on too. So they have a great youth program. They have a great, they have their own rink and all that. So it's tough. But we're excited. Like I said, it's going to be a challenge, and we're ready for it.
Absolutely. Now, once Olmsted Falls moved to the Red Division, were you excited about that move, or were you like, oh man, they're following us to the Red Division? Because I know you guys have a rivalry, and you just talked about how you and Olmsted Falls keep going at it, and it seems like they're right on your trail, and you guys make the move to the Red Division, then you see Olmsted Falls. Was that a time you were excited and ready for the challenge, or were you like, oh man, now we got another team that's gonna present a good challenge?
Well, it's funny, is like I know Amherst coach pretty well, Steve, and this summer we were joking about it. I'm like, it's funny, you guys go up for 1 year and then you want us to come up there so we can battle it out more. So it's just, I was like, you guys must have missed us. But it's I like having these games. I like the rivalry. Like, we played Olmsted Falls. You want that. You want that every night, to kind of have that little tense atmosphere where you're, one goal games. You have student sections going nuts. It's a lively building. It's fun. I think what last year people missed was having fans in the stand. I love having parents there, but you miss that community behind the games where you see student sections, you see signs, people. It's a hostile environment. I miss that in the sport. So you look forward to playing teams like Olmsted Falls, Amherst, teams that you've played through the Southwest tournament all the time. So it's always been a competitive games. Olmsted Falls is not a team you write off either. I mean, every night they're going to bring their hardest to you, and Amherst, with what Steve does with 12 players or 15, it's amazing. So it's exciting when you play those teams.
Coach, we see that you're going to be playing an outdoors game here coming up. How exciting is that for the players? And kind of go. I imagine it might go back to the the very youth days where you're just out on a pond, in the hockey puck around, hoping you don't fall on the ice. How's that going to be? How much fun is that going to be?
Yeah, that was something that got put together with the non-league team, Anthony Wayne, and they invited us to go play in this outdoor game. I've heard of it with other programs doing it. I'm like, yeah, we'll do it. I think it's going to bring memories back where a lot of the kids play right now in Avon Lake, the outdoor skating rink at Mickey Sheard's family's house in Avon Lake. So they all go there and skate and play outdoors. It's in someone's front yard, but it's going to be cool to be out in the center stage of a baseball field and enjoy a cool atmosphere. It's a cool event. Winterfest, the Toledo Winterfest that's put on is, from what I've read, is pretty cool. I've been there to watch Eds versus Ignatius. I mean, they did that one in Cleveland. It's a pretty cool event. Toledo Walleye are going to be playing a game. So throughout the whole week, there's different high schools that play. So I think it's going to be cool. I mean, you hope it's got a little snow in the air, a cold, nice brisk night. It'll bring back a lot of memories playing, on Lake Erie or in your local friend's pond or something like that. So it's going to be cool. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Coach, just you were talking about kind of the expectations of the season, and every year is different. And for you as a coach, and you've been coaching now for a good amount of years, what if any changes, any themes that you have this year that change from year to year, and if you do have themes or messages, expectations from year to year, what could be some of those this year for your players? You already mentioned, coming in playing all 45 minutes, coming ready to skate. But what are some other ones in your mind that you have set for your team?
So, I used the PJ Fleck statement. We rode the boat at Avon. I don't know if it's been really set out much. But, we rode the boat. There's a hard hat for our program. We rely on hard work. We're a community-driven team. And I think this group has been all about hard work. We're not a very fancy, we're not gonna make plays one-on-one with teams. We're gonna just do our best to outwork them. But they're gonna fight every night. I think this group is a very hard-fighting group. There's a lot of competitive mindset, you could say, with this group. So our biggest thing right now is everyone is on board rowing together to our goal to always be in the Barron Cup finals. I mean, right now, and I don't want to bring up a soft subject, but the state tournament, it's a hard thing to get into to go long for some programs. So our focus first and foremost is, let's have a successful season by competing, always working together. And, if we do that, we can be at where our one goal is to get to the Barron Cup finals, and then worry about the next rounds of the state tournament and try to go as far as possible during that. So I would say right now, like I said, we rode the boat. It's been our motto the last 3 years now. And, we stick the oars in and go. This is what we've been going with.
There you go. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time coming on tonight on Sports on Tap and talking about your Avon Eagles. And we want to wish you nothing but the best of luck this season in the Red Division. And I'm sure we'll be out to see you guys. And good luck with Olmsted Falls and some of the new teams that are in the Red Division with you guys. It's going to be a fun year.
No, thank you guys for having me. And, like I said, we see you guys around the rink. And, thanks for everything you guys do for the coverage for the sport. I know it's hard to come by sometimes in newspapers and all that, but you guys do a great job for the Barron Cup and throughout the whole season for us. So, from what I say, thank you guys for everything you guys do for us.
Well, thanks,
Coach.
We really appreciate
Coach.
that.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck
thank you.
this year.
All right.
You too. Thank you, guys.
That's head coach of the Avon Eagles, Kyle Botos, joining us here on Sports on Tap. And, he's pretty excited about his team and the move to the Red Division. And, like I said, another youth program that seems like it's doing really well. And he loses players, but you could tell he's really excited with the team he has this year.
And we didn't have the heart to tell him that Olmsted Falls is coming up right after him, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at Avon, I mean, he kind of laid it all out for us, right? He's coming into the Red Division with a pretty senior team and a pretty veteran team. So it's not as if he's limping in. I think Avon's charging into this Red Division, and obviously he's right. Mentor's there, Rocky River's there, Amherst is there. All those teams that are established in there, there's a reason why they stay there, right? And I look at Avon, I look at Olmsted Falls, and I think this could be a really, really fun division division to watch all year, because I think there's a lot of teams that are just right about the same level, and we could be looking at 1-goal games that, or 1 goal, being the difference. All the way down, even through the Barron Cup tournament. I'm almost excited to get to Barron Cup just to see how this plays out, because I think we're going to be in store for a lot of good hockey from this division. I mean, just a lot of really good, dramatic hockey, which is exactly what we want to cover here at Sports on Tap.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody who's watching right now. You can go to sportsontappodcast.com, our website. We'll have this archived up there and also on our YouTube. If you just hit subscribe on YouTube, you will get an email that shows all the videos, and when we do a live stream or post videos or any of that, it'll go right to your email and let you know about it. We're at SOT Podcast on Twitter. So, follow our social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook as well. So follow us wherever Sports on Tap is for the latest of the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. But coming up here, and I think there he is, we'll let head coach of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs, Mark Wagner, join us. And there he is. How you doing, Coach? Coach, how you doing? Welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah, it depends when you're working.
Yeah, always working. So
I hear you. Well, we're almost to the weekend at least.
Yes.
It might have taken a little while to get there, but we finally made it.
Okay. Sorry about the Beth Wagner. I'm using my daughter's computer today.
Oh, that's all right. Hey,
left mine at the office.
Any way you can get on, we appreciate you coming on and talking a little Olmsted Falls hockey here in the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League. And we talked to Avon about their move to the Red Division. Now you follow suit in the Red Division, coming from the White. After a championship run last year, it was such a great season for you guys. Talk about how your season went last year, and then what you're looking forward to here in the Red Division.
Well, I was entering my second year last year, and I had a core group of players coming back after the first year. We did really well. I think we were 14-7-2. With the COVID, we didn't have a conference, but we played a lot of the games against most of the conference members, and we were kind of successful, and had the opportunity to play in the Barron Cup against Avon, which is just getting back into high school coaching. Avon and Olmsted Falls have a really good rivalry, and it was an exciting season.
And Coach, first off, congratulations on the great season last year. As you guys are, so you're moving up to the Red Division. What are your thoughts? What do you think are the biggest challenges that your team is going to face moving up to that division?
I think day in and day out, having to play very good teams that are one of the better teams in the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League is always a challenge. But I have 14 players returning from last year's team. I have 3 goaltenders, all quality goaltenders. That is very important in hockey. I think we all know that. So I came from Strongsville, and Troy Grawl, who's now the head coach, was my assistant coach, and he kind of told me, he goes, "Look, Coach, I don't have any goaltending." He goes, "I really need to get out of the Red North." And I said, "Well, you know what? I'll step up, because I think we got a good quality team that can compete."
Yeah, how? Go ahead, Josh.
I was just gonna say, Coach, you kind of came on like right before this pandemic hit, and do you go back on your experience at the head coaching level? You got some vast experience. Do you go back on your experience on how you can kind of maneuver through a season like we had last year, and then going back to somewhat normal this year? I mean, how was it for you last year?
Well, I explained to the players, I said, "Look, gentlemen, there's going to be a lot of rules and things we have to do, and a lot of hoops you're going to jump through. But if you want to play hockey, we do what we need to do. And, keep focused and, do what we need to do. Wear the mask, do what we need to do on the bus, leave when we're told to leave." And they really kind of accepted it, because I said, "Look, this is a big privilege for us to actually even play." They could have wiped the whole season out. So I think they learned they can't take things for granted.
Coach, thank you again for joining us tonight to kind of preview your team. And going back to your team this year, you mentioned you have 14 players returning. Can you talk a little bit about some of the players you're expecting a lot from, or you're going to be looking to kind of rely on throughout the season going forward?
Sure, definitely. I'm returning my top 5 scorers. 4 are forwards, one's a defenseman. Cole Segan, who's a junior, is my leading scorer. Last year, I think, let me look at his sheet. He had 17 goals, 16 assists, 33 points in 19 games. Very quality, good player, fast. Should be one of the better players in the area. And Noah Volker, who's my captain, who's my 2-time captain. He broke his finger earlier in the year, but he came along at the end. Very big, powerful, strong forward, which is going to help. And like I said, we are really looking forward to the challenge.
Coach, I'm looking at some of the information you just sent over. First off, I am also a Purple Raider.
Oh, okay. Good. Mount Union.
Yes. Went back in Mount Union College. It was still college when I was there too.
Well, I happened to play on the first conference championship in 1985. I played football there for 4 years.
Oh, nice. So did I. Very nice.
Good.
So you started the run then. That's fantastic.
Yep.
Now, Coach, looking at you coached in the same league. You started out in the late 80s and all the way up into the mid 90s. Now you've been back for a little, in the late 2000s and to where you are now. What's the biggest change that you've noticed between from your first initial coaching experience to where things are now?
From a coaching standpoint, is this modern technology. As a coach, there's just so much available to you. Back when I first started coaching, you were lucky there was 5 or 6 books that you could get to read and learn things and stuff like that. But now they have tons of online information. And I think it just makes it better for coaches. From a player standpoint, I think hockey was at its peak in the 80s, early 90s. Every team was loaded. We all had JV teams. And then, it kind of waned a little bit and picked up a little bit again. But I think right now we've got to rebuild. A lot of programs are rebuilding this year. Tons of seniors graduating. I was just lucky I had more juniors than seniors last year.
Yeah, we're talking with Carl Wagner. He's in his 3rd season at Olmsted Falls. Their hockey program last year was 14-7-2, and you were a runner-up in the white division for the Barron Cup. And talking about your players, last year you guys were really quick. And looking at some of the Cole Segan, a junior, you have some juniors still on your team, but the main guys you have are seniors, and we've heard of them. They had such great seasons. Is there any youngsters, freshmen, sophomore out there that might step up this season and have a good year for you?
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about my goaltenders. Tyler Pletcher and Nate Chandler. Nate's a senior, Tyler's a junior. They really backstop us. Both split and did a bunch of games. I think Tyler got a little bit more than Nathan, but they're really the point. They both have save percentages in the 90s. That's what you want. I think we grow from there. And we have 4 quality defensemen, 3 seniors and 1 junior will be the background of the team. And my philosophies in coaching, I build from the goaltender out. My goal is you stay within a goal or 2 and you're always in the game.
Now, obviously, does it help to have the 3 goaltenders where they can rotate? Does that help? Obviously, it probably takes a little bit of the pressure off each goaltender, but I know sometimes they get in a little bit of a rhythm too, where does it help you to have multiple goaltenders that you can rely on?
Great for practice. Tough as a coach because, you want everyone to get an opportunity, but as a coach, you're here at a varsity level to win. Hopefully, we'll be able to run a little bit of a rotation in the tournaments, but hopefully you get that one goalie who's getting hot and can play in the league games and really take you through the league season.
Coach, question I got for that we had, actually that, I don't want to mention the name, but the Avon head coach did mention how last year, was odd for so many reasons, right? The pandemic, how everything was, but also the big takeaway was there wasn't a lot of fans in the stands outside of parents or direct, family members. And as we kind of move into that era where we're getting those fans back, do you sense kind of a buzz around your program, from a social media standpoint and from our interactions? Olmsted Falls is one of the most active hockey fan bases that we tend to interact with, and I know they were pumped with our coverage, just watching it on the video last year of your guys' Barron Cup 2 championship game. Do you guys expect a big kind of community push for your team this year?
Definitely. We had our first scrimmage at Strongsville, and between Strongsville and our fans, I would have to say about 350 people showed up for the scrimmage. And, as a coach, you have to tell your kids, you tell your players, look, you don't play to the fans. You're not there to entertain them. You're there to play hockey. Whatever entertainment they get out of it is on them. But like the student sections, I'm looking over at Coach Growl and and we're like, oh, what the heck is going on? This is just a scrimmage. And I think each student section had about 40, 50 kids in it for both schools.
Was there a free giveaway?
The fan base is great. Huh?
Yeah.
Free giveaway, the Bulldogs,
Bobblehead or something?
I don't know what was going on. It just was free, I think. And I think a lot of people have been pent up and they wanted to get out and do something. So, but, scrimmages are scrimmages. You don't play scrimmages to win. You play to evaluate your talent and your program.
I'm sure everybody's excited for hockey just to get started. That's probably, the wait is over, People want to come out and watch some good hockey now.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of a cult sport, and I think it, has that base of fans that really, once they get to see a game, they really like it and they always want to come back. That's all you can really say. And, you try to tell people once you learn the sport and learn the rules, you'll be a fan forever.
Well, Coach, I was wondering, you said you had a veteran team coming into this year. How does that change your goal or your mindset as you come into this year? And what goals do you have for your team as you embark on a new season, getting into, league play, and then eventually making another run in the Barron Cup?
Well, I have a unique situation here where I have 8 seniors, but I also have 9 freshmen. And I have a smattering of people in between, maybe 4 or 5. So, the seniors are playing a great role of being a leader for the younger players. And we're going to have a couple JV tournaments and games to get the younger kids the experience. But it's a learning curve to learn the program, learn the systems that we teach them. And so far, so good. The seniors did a great job off season in the weight room, captain's practices, things like that. So, I'm going to need a couple of those freshmen. You're going to get injuries and things of that sort. And we're really looking forward to see some of those freshmen coming up and playing.
Coach, do you have any? Are there any football players that are on that play hockey that are still participating in the tournament?
Just one, and he's a sophomore. So, he's still pretty much a rookie on the hockey team. So kind of lucked out there. I heard Chris on his little thing. He's lost 3 players and a couple of them are pretty good, but it's high school hockey. And as coaches, we have to encourage these kids to play as many sports as they can. You only get one chance at it. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to get Rocco Conti out there by chance?
I think he's a little focused on what he wants to do as a football player. Boy, he can run that ball, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had a great season.
Well, I'm sure some of the players would like to get someone like Cole on their squad as well.
Sure.
Well, guys, any other questions for Coach Wagner before we let him go?
Just good
Coach,
luck on the season, Coach.
Exactly. Good luck, Coach. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for
Look
coming on,
forward
Coach.
to meeting you again, and thanks for having this opportunity. I think it's great for the sport of hockey, and we didn't have this back in the 80s and when I played in the 70s and 80s, and this is great for our sport, and I'd like to thank you for having us on.
Yeah, no problem. We appreciate you coming on, and that's the great thing about Zoom. We can do this and have everybody on.
Yep.
Makes it a little easier. But thanks, Coach. Good luck this season, and we'll see you at a game, I'm sure.
No problem. Take care.
All right. I want to thank Coach Wagner for joining us here on Sports on Tap, head coach of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs. And, they look to join the Red Division and have a successful season. Carl Wagner, in his third season at Olmsted Falls, he's 26-18-5. And he's always been successful. That's the one thing. I remember, talking to Strongsville when we had a chance, and they said the same thing. He was great at Strongsville. I think he took a little bit of time off and then got right back into it at Olmsted Falls, and it's worked out for him there. But, he's really built up that program, obviously, and they did a great job last year and look to do the same this year.
It's gonna be a great season for the Red Division. We're really gonna see. I'm sure the Red Division teams, they're not gonna be as familiar with these squads, and if they're both Avon and Olmsted Falls are joining the division at the perfect time in their programs, where they're capable. They're veteran laden. They have players that have been through the battles. They both have extensive Barron Cup experience, and that experience should help them get through their first season. And the seniors are going to get one crack at it, but the juniors and the sophomores are really going to get to see where their program is at, and then what they need to do in the future to maintain that status in the Red Division.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When you look at the Red Division, I mean, they're all experienced and have had some experience and success to obviously move up to the Red Division. But we'll have a chance, obviously, coming up, and you can go to our website and all over to see when our white will be the next division we'll be covering. I believe it's the 17th. We'll be covering the white division. And we'll have a few coaches on there to talk a little bit about the white division, the white West and the white East. There's 5 teams in the West and 6 in the East, so we'll get a chance to cover that division more extensively on the 17th of November. So, again, hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, and you'll know exactly when we're going to be live streaming that interview and that preview show coming up. And also with videos and everything like that. You can also go to sportsontappodcast.com. That's our website that has a bunch of good information. And Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League also has a Facebook page you can go to for information. And I know they're working on their website, which is going to be pretty cool to see. So we'll follow up with that. But, guys, any last thoughts on the Red Division before we close out here tonight?
Yeah, let's not forget. Yeah, let's not forget. I mean, Benedictine, Amherst, Menor Hudson. We did not forget about you guys. You are going to be a big part of this division as well. Rob, just and you guys a reminder that we will be live streaming actual league games this year, and in addition to our Barron Cup coverage as we did, the past previous years. So make sure you do subscribe to our YouTube page because you'll get notified when we will be live at a game, and you'll be able to watch it live on YouTube. Also, remember to just keep our Twitter page and our website handy because we'll put out our broadcast schedule there as well. Looking forward to it.
And how awesome is it that Coach Wagner described to us that a scrimmage drew 350 fans? That speaks to the level of just anticipation that many people have for this hockey season. It's the return. last year was the 50th anniversary of the Barron Cup, with the with the pandemic and things like that. I really kind of look for this to be the kind of the coronation of that, or the celebration of that this year. I know last year technically calendar-wise was, but I really feel like a celebration of the Barron Cup and this hockey league that is a huge part of the population of Ohio hockey, varsity hockey in the state. So it's pretty awesome. I'm excited to be out there. I got to learn some cool hockey words by the end of this. I know crease, I know stick, and that's it. And then puck, but I can't say puck a lot because I could get censored. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. I think we'll definitely figure something out.
I hope you know more words than that. I mean, we've only been covering this league for the last few years, man.
But again, we've been covering it, but we've only done play-by-play. Ed and I have only done play-by-play for 3 games.
That's
so
true, and you guys did a great job.
And we got to find other words that we can pepper in. I'm going to start watching Hockey Night in Canada for some sweet Canadian hockey words.
There you go.
Got to figure out what a hoser is.
Sean, just make up your own. Just make up your own and start a trend, my friend. We'll get a hashtag going.
Oh boy.
I want to come up with a cool phrase I can shout when there's a goal, like nacho cheese or something like that.
Let it come organically and naturally.
Organically? Okay. All right.
Don't think about it.
But yeah, we're looking forward to the season. We have a lot of exciting games ahead and interviews and everything like that. So again, keep it here, Sports on Tap on our YouTube page. Subscribe, and website, social media. We'll be all over the place. But great job tonight, guys, and we'll see you. Obviously, Monday night is our show at 7:30. If you like high school football, we go through pretty much all the not all the Northeast Ohio conferences, but the Great Lakes Conference, the Greater Cleveland Conference, Southwestern Conference, and the Suburban League, where we go through those recaps. So we'll go through the playoffs there. That's Monday at 7:30. You could tune in for that. All right, guys, great job. All right, for Ed, Dick, Sean Duffy, Josh, Jeffy, I'm Rob Troutman. I want to thank you for watching us here on Sports on Tap on our YouTube channel. We'll see you on Monday night at 7:30. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you later.